Hey everyone, today we're out at Baker Beach in San Francisco, just below the Presidio, where Bryan and I are here for my birthday. We're celebrating my birthday weekend. Turned Big 5-1 this weekend. Thought it'd be a great place to shoot another video to kind of share with you guys a little bit about me. Back here on this bridge, this is what I used to wake up to almost every morning when I lived here as a kid. We moved here from the East Coast and I went to school on the other side of the bridge there, and now I live about 3 hours away from here as an adult. And it takes us about 3 hours to get there. It's an easy 3-hour drive, mostly country, farmland, until we get here back to the city. And Bryan and I have been here maybe about 2 or 3 times a year. So this is probably one of the most beautiful places that I can go to for a weekend. And we used to come down here quite a bit to play. It was kind of bizarre because as a kid, you had no idea that you actually lived on the ocean. You just kind of took it that everybody lived on the ocean, and that was the way of life. There were some days you never even looked at it. Like they say, those that live on the ocean never walk on the ocean. And now I crave to get to it. I can't wait to get to it. It's been so long since I actually get to play on the ocean as an adult. Directly behind me we have the Golden Gate Bridge. It's one of the few bridges that you can actually still walk across. There are tourists, and there's probably a couple thousand people that walk across that bridge every day. I remember as a kid, it's a little bit morbid, but it's the truth. People used to commit suicide on that bridge. And once a month, you would hear about the story of whoever just jumped to their death on the bridge. And as a kid, I was terrified when company would come, because my mom and dad always wanted to take me to the Golden Gate Bridge. And I always thought, well, I'm going to see someone commit suicide. It's just, and of course I never did. So that was one of the nice things. The water is unbelievably cold. Along your whole stretch of beach, there's thousands of people, and no one's swimming. It's that cold. It's just freezing. The beach is kind of bizarre because it's broken up into several sections. When you first come down out of the parking lot, you have like what we call the family section, where mom and dad and the kids are there. And then you walk a little ways, a little bit further, and you come across the hippie section, where all the hippies are, and they're hanging out, they're playing volleyball. Got some great pictures of that. I'll show you a little bit later on. And then you walk a little bit further, and then you get to the nude section, the straight nude section of things. And that's where all the straight people are nude. And just kind of soak up the sun. And if you just keep walking to where we are now, it's called the Rocks. That's all the gay people are. And they hang out, and they're beautiful. Yeah, Bryan and I have been out there for a while. Oh, another thing I want to show you is what's called the Cliff House. Very, very interesting. And if you pan on over here and you follow me, way over in a distance, it's called the Cliff House. And that, 2 million years ago, was actually like the early 1900s. It was called bathing pools. And what it was these great big huge Olympic-sized swimming pools. And it was built with ocean water. So the ocean water would come through and go into these massive pools that were the size of Olympic pools. And that's where people would go to swim. And it was kind of covered, it was a dome shape. I got some great pictures, I'm going to show those to you later on as well. We'll have used this in there. And people would hang out there, they would swim, and it was the place to go swimming. Kind of like a olden version of the YMCA. But anyway, it's pretty cool. Yeah. One of the things I love about this magnificent city is the culture and the diversity of the culture. It is so phenomenal. You can have the best Indian food, the best Chinese food, the best Thai food, the best Italian food, Tonight we're going down to a little area called Little Italy, and it is probably the best pasta you'll ever have. Of course, I'm on a diet, so I can't have pasta tonight, but I am going to have some really good food. And it's the only city in the world that you'll ever go to that you're just walking around and someone will walk right behind you and they're butt naked. And you're like, you don't have any clothes on, dude. What are you doing? But it's nobody cares. I'm the only one that still freaks out, and I was raised in the city. Anyway, there's some magnificent things to do if you're planning a trip. You have to go to Golden Gate Park, Candlestick Park. We have an amazing food there. Of course, the beach, Alcatraz, which is pretty awesome to go to. It's one of the oldest federal prisons, and you can take a tour of that. Take a ferry out there, and you can spend a couple of hours. It's absolutely a beautiful place to go. And of course, Michigan Wharf. It's the best place to go if you want fish and chips. That was another place that we always went to every time we had company. Mom and Dad would take the company to Fisherman's Wharf, and we would walk the wharf, and then we'd walk the Golden Gate Bridge. It's kind of one of those weird things, because as a kid, you kind of got bored with it all. And now as an adult, it's like I have so much fun every time I go. I can't wait to go again. So it's pretty cool. Now, one of the things people ask me is, where did you live when you lived here in San Francisco? Well, the truth of the matter is, we actually didn't live in the heart of the city. We lived on a little island called Treasure Island. And my dad was in the Navy at that point, so we lived there. But I didn't go to school there. I got the bus across the bridge, and every morning I'd get on my school bus, and the school bus would take us across the bridge right into the heart of the city. And I went to a little school called Northville, and it's right below Craig Tower. Craig Tower is one of the famous landmarks. Craig Tower is one of the famous landmarks there in New York City. Last night, Brian and I were walking to dinner, and we heard all these different conversations in all these different languages. We heard Greek people speaking. We heard Italian people speaking. We heard people from Spain speaking, and they're all speaking in their native tongue. And it put a smile on my face to know that in my own backyard, I have people that travel all over the world to San Francisco to see what I have in my backyard. And now, this would be actually a very cool place to base one of my books on, is right here. That would be pretty cool. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Remember to subscribe to my channel on YouTube and catch me on Facebook. You can also check out my website at www.btclark.com. And out. Thank you.